What's up, everybody? Welcome to Comic Book Addicts. This is episode 23. It's June 19th, Monday, the start to a new week. I hope everyone's week is off to a good start so far. Mine is a little bit rushed, a little chaotic. I had a doctor's appointment, a bunch of things I had to take care of today. Just things that I have to take care of to keep my mental health and all that good stuff in check. But because of all that, it's been a chaotic day, but it's been a good day. Overall, I would have to say. Got to stop and pick up some comic books on the way home, so that's always good. And grabbed a new Marvel Legend, so that's always cool too. Grabbed Corsairs, Starjammer. He is Cyclops and Havoc's dad. But anyways, hope you guys are doing well. Let's check in the comments and see who we got. See if we got anybody. Oh, we got Tony, Comiverse. He says, greetings from the far reaches of the Comiverse. What's up, Tony? I hope you're doing well, man. And I feel like the big story this week was Heroes Con. Everybody hitting up Heroes Con. Pretty much everybody I know was there, and I'm extremely jealous of everyone that was there. Marcus, Circumstances. What's up, man? My brother Marcus in the house. Thanks for showing up. I hope you were having a good day. We got Bryant couching and slouching with C Bizzle. He says, good evening. What's up, Bryant? I hope you're doing well, man. Rob, not near mint, showed up to hang out with us tonight. He says, welcome to the comic parade. Glad you're taking care of yourself. Yeah, dude, it's just a monthly thing that I have to do to keep everything in check, man. It's part of it. Jimmy G, how you doing, man? Hope you're doing well. He says, hi, Scotty. Hi, Rod. Woof Woof says, woo. Well, tell Woof Woof I said hello, and I'm glad you can make it, man. Comic Cap Collectibles, excuse me. What's up? He says, hello, all. And then we got Picking and Punching. Our guest tonight says, what's up, everyone? Can't wait to bring him out. I want to run through some community news real quick, though, before we bring the guest out. Oh, we got Durs in the house. What's up, Durs? Hope you're doing well, man. And actually, I was going to bring you up in the next little segment. Let's pop our little community news thing up real quick. But yeah, anyways, community news. Everybody hitting up Heroes Con this week. I hope you guys that got to go all had a really good time. My buddy Durs, he got to go and looked like he was having a blast, and he sent me this picture I wanted to show you guys. This is him actually with this is him and Jonathan Hedrick hanging out. So if you've watched the show 3 or 4 weeks ago, we had Jonathan on as a guest. He is the writer of Dream Master and a bunch of other really cool comic books, but got to chat it up with him. So that was really cool. Had to show that to you guys. Also, I got to, I didn't get to go to Heroes Con, but I got to meet up with our homie Beckerman and hang out at this really cool shop called Nirvana Comics in Knoxville. They were awesome. They let us each pick out, when they figured out me and him were giving each other AOKs, they wanted to get in on it. So they offered both of us a $20 or less graphic novel, which I thought was really cool of them. But if you're ever in Knoxville, check out Nirvana Comics. I wanted to, shout out Beckerman, though. He hooked me up with some amazing books, the Wolverine 1 and this awesome Daniel. I'm on the spot right now. So here, hold on, I'll show you. It's right here. Daniel Warren Johnson. Yeah, I was blanking out there for a second, but this nice homage, and it's signed by him and everything. But he hooked me up with that. Bueller, Comics with Bueller, y'all. He has an official website now. It's comicswithbueller.com. Just type it in. He's got all his merch up. Got some really cool t-shirts, hats, and a bunch of other stuff. But I wanted to make you guys aware of that. I think his son is working with him on that, getting that going. And I think some of the proceeds even go to his son. So that's pretty cool. Kenneth, what's up, man? Glad you could make it. He says hi to everyone. Mike, Evils Comics, what's up, dude? Between the Lines is taking a break this week. I think Roscoe was hanging out at Heroes Con. I think they're just taking the week off this week. So, but be sure to check out 22 Comics, though, at 9 o'clock. And those guys will be back next week at 8:35. What's up, Beckerman? Glad you could make it, bro. CBC Award nominations are running, as you may know, they are running through August 5th. So still got plenty of time to get in your nominations. Be sure to do so, though. I want everybody to get there. nominations and make your opinions be heard. Let's see, what else do I have? Let's see, 22 comics. I mentioned him. Yeah, man, that's it. Let's bring the guest out. We got a really good guest tonight, so I want to bring him out. What's up, Frank? Glad you could make it out, man. Let me make sure I got my comic book news thing taken down because I make that mistake every time. There it is. All right, now it's gone. All right. My guest tonight, y'all, is an independent professional wrestler, comic book collector, modern day treasure hunter, professional reseller, and he does all of this on his YouTube channel, appropriately titled Picking and Punching. Y'all help me welcome my special guest tonight, Rod the Scoundrel Grimes.
What's up, everyone? Rod? What's up, man?
How you doing,
man? Couldn't do better myself. So you did a great job. It's like an announcer in the ring, just reading off the accolades and just going through. So,
man, it's so great to have you and finally get to hang out with you. How you been?
Yeah. I'm doing great, man. I'm excited to be here. Excited to chat up some comics and reselling, and I like what you do for the community here and get everyone together on a weekly basis. So when you reached out to me, I was all about it, man. So,
well, yeah, man, I'm honored to have you. Well, for anyone at home that may not be familiar with you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm a independent pro wrestler. I was trained by Jay Lethal. If you guys watch AEW, he's currently on AEW on a weekly basis. He's currently tagging with Jeff Jarrett right now in AEW, but he was also, he's been a wrestler for 20 years. So he was actually my trainer. I actually live in Tampa, Florida currently right now. So that's why I went to school with Jay through his training school. From there, I'm a third generation picker. So growing up, my grandmother used to volunteer at a local church thrift store, and they used to go to yard sales all the time. And I used to go with them. They used to buy stuff at yard sales and go to take it to flea market and set up. And my grandfather used to sell hot cars and matchboxes. That's what he was really into. And I would go there, and when I was like 12 years old, just sell some sports cards. And then my dad had a hauling and tree service business growing up, so we would clear out people's houses in the States. And I can't tell you how many people die that don't have next of kin. It's crazy. So we would get calls from lawyers' offices, come in and clear out like hoarders' houses and stuff like that. And then we would load up all the good stuff and drop it off at the local auction. So I've been kind of picking all my life, and something that I just love to do, and something I would do. It's my full-time job now, but I would actually do it. That's what I do in my free time for fun. So I'm an avid toy collector. You can see actually up this side right here, you can see me. I'm a big 80s and 90s toy collector. So from Ghostbusters, Ninja Turtles, WWF Hasbro's, LJNs. As you see behind me here, I'm a huge horror movie fan. So I collect a lot of horror stuff.
Me too.
I'm a massive video game collector. That's all my NES stuff right behind me there. And I'm a huge comic book guy, man. So mostly horror, Spider-Man. I like the older stuff more or less than a lot of the newer stuff. When it comes to newer stuff, I'm more independent when it comes to like horror, because that's best.
Man. A lot of good independent horror out there. But yeah, man, my introduction to you and how I found you was through your YouTube channel, Picking and Punching. And I found it a few years ago, and your channel was always among my favorites. It was always my go-to, not just because I think that you're a cool guy, but you include comic book content, you do CGC submissions, unboxings, and it's just the stuff you do on your channel is typically my favorite type of content to watch. So honestly, dude, just being truthful with you, you've always been one of my favorite channels to watch, and
thank you.
I couldn't wait to have you on here. Picking and reselling thing I think is really cool, man, and definitely wanted to get you on here to ask you about that some more.
Yeah, so it's funny is, when I first started out, I actually started as a reselling channel. And when I launched my channel in November I had a YouTube. So I was actually originally going to launch it. So actually backtrack here 2 years. I was actually going to launch my channel in 2019. That's actually when I signed up to YouTube, made an official Pick and Punch at that point in time. And I think it was 2000, right before the pandemic. And the whole purpose was about a pro wrestler that travels, because I was at that point in time, I was getting booked in like Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana, pretty much all over the Southeast. I started doing some extra work for like Ring of Honor at the time, and WWE. I was doing some extra work for NXT down in Orlando for the TV tapings. And so everything was like really starting to take off. So I was like, I had the idea is like, what about a channel about a pro wrestler that travels the country punching and picking and punching his way across America. So that was the whole concept of it. So I actually filmed a bunch of stuff, and just like a bunch of other people, you want it to be perfect. You don't put it out there, and then the pandemic hit, and unfortunately, at that point in time, I actually never started. So I should have started a long time ago before that. But then finally, I was like, you know what? I just got to do it one day, and I think I launched it in 2021 November timeframe. When I launched my channel, dropped my first video was actually CGC unboxing, because I was getting really big and watching like Franchise Kicks and some other people do unboxings on their channel. I saw DJ Links did some. So that was kind of like, at that point in time, I was like, oh man, that'd be really cool. And I was just starting to get back into comic books too at that time. So it was like almost like the perfect storm for me. And I bought out a massive collection. I was starting to get into comic books because I had a stepson at the time, and which I'm married now, but we were just starting to date, me and my wife, about a year prior to that, and he was 8 years old when we started dating, and trying to find ways to connect with him. And he's a big Marvel and DC fan, so awesome. I started, getting real back into it, watching the movies and stuff with him, and then I had an opportunity to buy out a massive collection of Legos. And when I went to the guy's house, he had 13 long boxes that were untouched for 20, 30 years. Wow. And so like a lot of times when you see me pull those like 9.6s, 9.8s of like comic books from like the 80s on my channel, that was all from this massive collection. The guy bought it, just put it in a long box and stuck in his garage for 40 years. So it's I never came out to be a comic book channel to start off with. It just kind of fell in that way. And I launched my channel around the holidays, and I couldn't get a lot of reselling content. So I started buying a bunch of mystery boxes, and I started to, submit stuff into CGC. And I got the bug, man, with those mystery boxes, because I bought my first one from Torpedo Comics. I never filmed it, but I hit the grand prize, the very first mystery box I ever bought my.
Oh no!
So I got the silk variant, which is like the one in one. I forget which one it was, but it's one that goes like $600-700. So I was like, I paid $100 and I got this sick.
So you were hooked from there.
Yeah, I was hooked, man. I was hooked. So
that's cool, man. So actually, picking and reselling, the combination of that and your stepson kind of got you back into comics, I guess.
Yeah, man. So I was never really like super like. I mean, I love the movies, I love the figures, I love the cartoons. But even as like a kid growing up in the 90s, like I would get some comic books here and there, but I wasn't like a massive collector at all.
Okay.
And, so actually, a lot of people don't know this, but before I started in pro wrestling stuff of that, when I first moved to Florida, I actually got picked up by a mixed martial arts company at the time called XFC, Extreme Fighting Championship. And I got picked up to work in the front office, and we did the St. Pete Times Forum, is where the Tampa Bay Lightning play. It's called Amalie Arena. And with the first show we did, we gave away free tickets to everybody in the thing, because the whole business plan was to get some blue chip sponsors. So we set the attendance record in the state of Florida. We did like 13,000 people at this event. Mark Cuban from HDNet signed our fighting company to come on HDNet, which is now Access TV. And so I got picked up with those guys as a director of marketing for the company. So I went on tour with a professional MMA company there for a while. And
wow, that's really cool.
But the whole purpose why I was saying that is that's when like Iron Man, and like at that time frame, like Iron Man just came out, and like Marvel was just starting to kick off those movies. This is around like 2000. I think Iron Man was like 2006 time frame. I don't know, but this is this same time frame I was starting to work with XFC, and at that point in time, and I just got the bug. So I went to a comic book shop and I asked for some recommendations. And I think maybe it could have been around 2007, 2008. And that's when Civil War was just dropping. This is when The Boys were just dropping. So, and I was a huge like Garth Ennis fan at the time, because I love Punisher. And the guy recommended me. I picked up Civil War. I fell in love. And then I picked up The Boys. I fell in love. And then that's kind of got me in the comics there. And then unfortunately, when I went on tour the company, I was away sometimes 6 weeks, 8 weeks. So I had a pool box. I would come home and do my comic books would be like $400 or $500. I'm like, I can't keep doing this, man, not being able to read it, because I've been on the road. So I stopped. And then, when I had my stepson, that's when I kind of got back into it again.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, what are some of your favorite titles?
Sorry. I'm sorry. Ring of Honor was on HDNet. Yeah, it was on it. We were at XFC called Extreme Fighting Championship at the time. We were on HDNet at the same time Ring of Honor was. And then we ended up getting sold off to a company in Brazil. So I ended up stopping working for the company. But
Okay, cool. Good question. Shout out Dr. Von Hoot. Glad you could make it out tonight, man. Hope you're doing well. Um, crap, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you, what were some of your favorite, like what are some of your favorites getting back or getting into comic books? What were some of your, you said the Garth Ennis titles.
Yeah,
But you
man.
mentioned
Punisher,
Punisher.
Garthien, yeah, The Boys was awesome. Civil War, I literally was just obsessed with Civil War. I don't know what it was, but the storyline, it really just sucked me in there. I loved House of M. That was great too.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. For me though, it's but I like the adult stuff, and so even though I love Civil War, a lot of the Marvel stuff was a little bit more on the PG side for me and stuff like that. So now like I go back and I read a lot of the old um, indie horror stuff. That's what I
I
prefer.
love that stuff, man.
Yeah. So like right now, currently, I was what am I reading, man? Baby Teeth. I'm pretty much almost done with Baby Teeth. So Donny
Mhm.
Cates, that's something I really,
I've heard
really
of it.
enjoy. Oh, it's awesome. If you like horror stuff, like it's a cool title, man. It's
Let's check
about
it
a
out.
girl who gives birth to the son of Satan, pretty much. And
Damn, that's crazy.
yeah, it's a cool little thing. And I'm a big Donny Cates fan, so I kind of like that. And then Preacher, I'm actually reading Preacher right now.
Yeah.
And then I like some of the DC stuff, man. Some more of the Batman that's dark. I just got done. I just read Longest Halloween for the first time, which I loved.
Yeah.
So
Great
cool
story.
stuff, man.
So would you say that you were more towards the Marvel or DC? Would you?
So the only thing I really care, only thing I am a big fan in Marvel and DC is the Batman stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I unfortunately, man, I can't get into Superman. I think Superman's boring.
A
You
lot of people
know,
say that, man. They just can't relate to the character.
yeah, it's just he needs a makeover. He needs something new to him. So I'm actually really excited that they're taking over the new DC films, and hopefully we can, because I liked as a kid, I loved Superman, but it's just something about him now. He's just uncool to me. So, but I'm a Marvel guy all day long. So
Me too. Me too.
yeah.
Well, I normally ask this question to everybody that's on here, but you said you didn't collect much as a child. But do you have any early memories from your childhood that involve comic books?
Yeah, so I remember me and my dad trying to get a bunch of copies of The Death of Superman, which is ironic
Oh yeah,
what I just said, but
yeah.
because at that point in time, The Death of Superman was like the biggest news story as when I was a kid. Grew up in the '90s there, so like
I
people were
can
like, "Oh,
remember
buy
that.
that, put them away, save it." I mean, and it's one of the most overproduced comic books out there in the market, but that, and then also I was X-Men was really big too as a kid, so I would pick up some X-Men.
Yeah, they were
And
huge in the
Batman.
'90s.
So funny thing is even though I'm more of a Marvel guy all day long. I as a kid, I would say probably the biggest turn on for me as a kid when it came to comics was the artwork. And I was a big fan of Venom as a kid, big fan of Ghost Rider because of the artwork of those characters.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Now, you were talking about the big lot that you bought that got you
Yeah.
back into comic books. Was that your first? Was that the first lot that you had bought, or just the one that got you back into collecting?
So that was actually the first major big lot that I would say like investment lot that I bought.
Yeah.
So that's actually what got me into grading because I wasn't a fan of
Ah,
grading comic books before that.
yeah.
Yeah, honestly, man, that whole lot pretty much changed my outlook on a lot of things and changed my trajectory on not only my comic book collecting but also my personal life and my business. Because how it worked out was as a friend of a friend, they reached out to me, said, "Hey, they have boxes of Legos," and they sent me pictures, and they collected like um, Harry Potter, Lords of the Ring, like everything from the early all the Star Wars, like all the first releases, everything was brand new in boxes, and we didn't make it a
Wow.
big deal for that. And I'm a big video game guy too, so he had a bunch of like video game stuff. So that's actually what I was going over there for. And then when he brought me out to the garage and he said, "Hey man, this is part of the deal," and he had like two 55-gallon totes of magic cards. I got those. I
Oh
got,
damn.
yeah, and I got 13 long boxes. And I mean, we're talking about like the whole McFarlane, other than 300. Like he sold off a couple comic books to comic
Yeah.
book store when he was in college and stuff. But like majority of all the stuff, all the good stuff was there, minus like Spider-Man 300, unfortunately, because that was the run he had. Was the whole McFarlane run was in there.
Yeah.
So Spider-Man like 299, 300, those were missing. But like yeah, there's so much good stuff in there, man. And a lot of those early unboxings I did were all those books. That was actually my first jump into major comic collection, but also my first thing in jumping into, and I bought those just to flip first. But then I actually, to be honest with you, man, I started falling in love. And that was almost at the same time where probably about 6 months prior to that, I bought my first graded comic book, which was actually the first appearance of Carnage, because I'm a huge Carnage fan,
Dude,
Spider-Man fan.
I
So
love that book, man.
yeah,
What a
that
good
cover,
first collab.
yeah, that was my first lab, a 9.6, because I was like, who's gonna spend all this money on a 9.8? Which just being, getting your first steps in there, just dipping your toes in there and stuff like that. Now a year later, I'm buying slabs for $1,500, $2,000, $3,000. You know what I mean? So so it's funny how we progress down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what gave you the idea to when you got the lot of comic books, what made you decide to go down the road of grading, having never done it before?
So let's backtrack there a little bit. I was grading actually Seal video games, so I did that prior.
Oh,
So
okay. So you had previous experience with
yeah,
grading a little bit.
nothing with comic books, nothing with magazines or anything like that. So I actually, and the only reason I went that route was because I bought another lot of like during the remember when like all the riots were starting to happen like across the country back like right before like the pandemic time, like right around the pandemic and stuff. And
Yeah.
some guy had a massive lot of like video games, and I went down there. I got this massive lot, and the guy called me back like 2 weeks later, and he said, "Hey man, I got 50 sealed games at my house that I just had sitting there," and I ended up getting a sealed copy of Castlevania for the NES,
Oh,
which is
wow.
like,
That's
yeah,
crazy,
so
dude.
crazy. So that's actually what got me into grading video games at the time. So I sent a bunch of those off to get graded. So I got a
Yeah.
bunch of those. So I like the challenge that grading creates, because there's a giant learning curve with grading. So as I was going through all these comic books, I was looking at pricing. I was like, all right, I'm just going to sell a lot of these in lots. But then I was starting to pull out some keys, and that's when I found Key Collector. And it was like I got force fed with a fire hose so fast because when you get that many comic books and you have potential of thousands of that and tens of thousands of dollars there worth of stuff. So
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to learn real fast. So
If you want to make money.
yeah, it had to make money. So I started taking a lot of the stuff up, putting little mini lots, started pulling the keys out, started watching a lot of videos on YouTube about how to grade comic books.
Mhm.
And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to dip my toes in the water. And now I would say if my first batch came back really bad, then I
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have moved forward. I tried to sold them off, but I did a lot of studying. I did a lot of research. I was getting like 9.6s, 9.8s. And I mean, these are, we're talking some high-end books here. And
Cool.
at that point in time, I was like, this is for me. I love this. I love the challenge. Yeah, that's the biggest thing for me. So I like to
Who
challenge
were
myself.
you? Like, even before you were submitting the comic books, you said you were doing the video games. Who were you submitting those to CGC?
No, so CGC actually didn't do video games at that point in time. CGC actually just started doing video games in the last year.
Okay.
So before that, there's only one company that was doing video games that started out, and that's VGA. They also grade they'll grade pretty much anything there, toys and other stuff. But and then probably fast forward about 6 years later, WADA came out, and then WADA was doing a lot of video games. So that's the one that everyone knows. WADA is pretty much holds the most value, I would say, in the. Not a lot of people like WADA, I get it, but don't hate me in the comments. But yeah, so I went through WADA. I got those games graded through WADA. I do have a bunch of other sealed video games here that I'm probably going to send some to CGC, test the waters, see how they go. I only live 45 minutes from CGC headquarters, so
okay, pretty convenient.
Yeah.
So what's your go-to grading service for comics? CGC.
CGC, man. Dude, Beckett has just fallen. I don't know what is going on there, man. They have just fallen off the face of the earth. Not just with like comic books, with sports cards, with everything, man. Across the board, they have become a second-tier company, in my opinion. And I know some people like them for other things, but it's just the whole process, everything, man. And just not a fan.
I've never used Beckett before, so I have no experience. But well, you do a lot of hunting at flea markets and yard sale, pretty much anywhere that you can find a deal. Where do you find the best stuff typically?
Yard sale. All right, so private picks is probably the best where I find the best stuff because there's no competition. I'm getting brought in, and usually I'm getting brought in for higher end items. But I would say if it wasn't for the garage sales, that opens the door for me a lot of times because I make a lot of contacts, just being cool people and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
now I can give you an example. Earlier this year, I actually put a video out into someone's house, and I bought some like sports cards and stuff like that. I was at a garage sale. I talked to her. Her sister passed away, and she had some sports cards, didn't want to sell them, but she couldn't get anyone to come in and give her an estimate what they were. So I offered just do it for free. Come in. I was already there. I always try to help people out when I can. Plus, it helps build trust, and maybe if something happens down the line, they'll reach out to me. And we went through that stuff. And I was like, to be honest with you, it was all like early '90s stuff. I mean, just like comic books, sports cards in the early '90s were overproduced.
Yeah,
they called the junk wax box here. 88 through '94, just stuff's overproduced, not really have much value. Pretty much all it was. And I told her, I was like, you better not put this in a big lot for maybe $200-300. I'm not even interested in buying any of these. I did buy some other stuff from her, but that opened the door for me. They called me up, said her other sister passed away like over 20 years ago. And she was a massive Disney collector, and they had 17 totes of Disney merchandise that's been sitting in storage for 27 years.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah, I haven't put that out. I'm actually gonna start editing that video. Probably it's gonna be out next month. But man, I went to the house, and I'm talking about like the weirdest shit you would ever see. I'm talking about like, oh, can I curse? I wasn't sure if you
go right ahead, man. Yeah, go right ahead.
It was like dog toys from like 1984, brand new in the package. It was like like banks from 1968 that were just like, just all kind of like the weirdest stuff. But probably one of the coolest pieces in this entire thing was pamphlets. Now, I don't know if you know this, but a lot of people collect like the old like Disney like paper, like pamphlets, maps of the park, stuff that just doesn't exist anymore. But all this stuff was back from when the Epcot opened in 1982. So before Epcot opened, it was the preview stuff. Epcot's opening in November of 1982. So I had all the pamphlets for it, had all like the maps, the previews for it before it actually even opened. So that was really cool. Some of the stuff you find
that is cool.
You just never know when you're going to find that. So that video will probably drop in that video's going to drop in July. So
okay, yeah, I was going to say Dr. Von Hoot was asking when the video that's going to do well too, man. Being Disney,
hopefully,
people love Disney stuff.
Yeah, it's the YouTube's such a weird monster, man, because like the stuff that and anyone here in the chat who's a content creator, you can relate to this because the stuff that you probably put the most time in, you work the hardest at, you think it's going to kill, and then it comes out, it's just a flop, or it doesn't perform the way you want, you know what I mean? And then like the stuff that you're like, I don't know if it's going to be good. I'm running out of time. I'm going to throw it together within an hour or two. We put it out there. I'm like, and then boom, just takes off, and you're like, what the hell? Like, you just don't get it, man. So oh, that's funny. But yeah, you just never know what's going to happen, man. So it's trying to figure it out, man. That's another challenge all by itself. So
yeah, no, it is. I've tried, and I have yet to figure it out. So
you're on your way though, man. You gotta give yourself a little credit here. You're starting to build something up here, nice. So
a little bit. We're getting some steam going. Yeah. But what got you heavily into the picking and reselling?
Man, I would do it I like the treasure hunt. Okay, so for example, like I'm the type of guy that say Spider-Man. Okay, say if I collected this to say I want to go out there and collect every single major key for Amazing Spider-Man. Say if I'm gonna get everything from 1 through say 100. I will go out there. I will hunt for years. I will collect every single one, and then I will get all 100 of them, and then I'm like, what's next? It's not so much about the prize at the end of the tunnel; it's the pursuit for that prize.
That's me, man.
It's the journey along the way. So it's like I can carry. Like, I have some cool stuff all in my office here, but at the same point in time, it's like I mean, if someone came in and offered me X amount of dollars, it doesn't matter. Like, I would just sell it off because there's maybe a couple of things that are real personal to me, like that Ghostbuster. Was the firehouse right there? Like, that's mine for my childhood. Like, that's not for sale. You know what I mean? Like, so there's certain things. Yeah, my uncle bought me that, and like I have all the pieces for it. I don't know how I had all the pieces for it, but like certain things like that I'll keep. But like, it's just more about the journey, man. So that's what I love. Absolutely, so even if I didn't do this full time, this is what I'll be doing in my free time. And I'm a big time seller on eBay. I mean, I've sold, I think over like 12,000 items on eBay over the years, and I sell on other platforms too. And it's just one of those things where I like the challenge, man. It's all about building the business for me, not so much what the prize at the end of the tunnel is. It's the journey getting there. So
Yeah, I feel exactly the same way, man. I was actually thinking about that the other day. Just I don't know. I'm that exact same way though. Just the hunt, man. I love seeking out the stuff. It's all about going out and finding it. And when you finally do find it, that feeling that you get.
Mhm.
And yeah, man, I totally agree.
So let me ask
Um,
you this then. So since you like to hunt, how many times over the years have you bought and sold your collection, or maybe sold it off and then went back and got stuff again, or rebuilt it up over the years? Have you done that a lot?
I've done that with X Factor Volume 1 run. I had it almost complete, minus a few keys, and I sold it. And I had a pretty complete Spider Woman Volume 1 that I sold off. And
Yeah.
I had most of Spawn 1 through 100 and sold off.
Oh, nice.
So,
Now,
yeah.
and you've gone back over the years and just try to re-get those at all, or you just
I
once you throw them off, you're done. You are okay.
just the ones that I love, just the
Yeah.
ones that mean something.
So I have sold off my WWF Hasbro action figure collection probably like 2 or 3 times over the years, and
Yeah.
now I'm getting it right back. In my NES collection, I've sold off like 4 different times, and
Wow.
it's just because when I'm out hunting for it, because that the NES cartridges are remind me of comic books. It's the art on them, man. It's the art that just draws me in, and that's what about comic books, man. It's the front cover art, and that's why I like slabbing things. I mean, that's why I'm a big fan of getting stuff graded. I know not everyone is, but
Yeah.
it's preserving that art. Preserving, putting it on my wall, being able to display it. Like that's the biggest thing, man. I love that. Like I even grade VHS, man. Like listen, like I even have sealed VHS right there. Like that's a 10, man. That's in the
Hulkamania.
steel.
Hell yeah.
Hulkamania 4. So like, yeah. So I mean, that's part of my right now is a challenge for me because majority of VHS, you go out and you find VHS. 98% of VHS is worthless.
Yeah.
But there are certain things like like when it comes to action, comes to like superheroes, comes to wrestling, comes to horror, like some of the stuff can bring really good money, and then find a copy steel that's lasted all these years, and
Mhm.
that's something that's another part of the journey for me because when I go out hunting now, if you watch my videos, I'm like, oh man, VHS. And majority of my viewers are probably like, who the hell wants to buy VHS? But it's a challenge for me
Dude.
because I'm trying to find some cool, cool artwork. I'm trying to find cool pieces just to add to
Mhm.
the PC or be able to get something graded to sell off too eventually. So
I think the fact that me and you have that in common, I think that's why I like your channel so much because I also love the hunt, and that's what you're doing a lot of the time on
yeah,
your channel. You're out hunting, and you show it. You show it on in a lot of your videos. Like you'll do the unboxing videos and things like that. But you're one of the few that incorporate comic books, but you also go out and you're hunting and you're recording the whole time and
yeah.
hitting these flea markets and all these estate sales just wherever you can find. But it's been really really fun watching your channel. I enjoy it a lot, man.
Yeah,
It's
I
cool.
appreciate it, man. So I haven't done a comic book unboxing in a while. I kind of
Yeah,
took a break because, to be honest with you, dude, I spent over $10,000 with CGC last year.
I
So
believe it.
just
I
just
believe it.
grading, man. I mean, just grading a book, but also too is like, what people don't understand is it's a numbers game. So if I'm submitting hundreds and hundreds of comments in there, like I can take a bunch of L's before I just need those big hits to come through every once in a while, and
Mhm.
that pays for a big portion of that grading process throughout the way. But here's something that I just got a box from CGC in the mail yesterday, so I just sent some stuff off. I filmed a video probably like 6 months ago at the flea market, and I've been saving it because I found a bunch of rare old comic books there. So
Okay.
I'm actually going to drop. This is going to be dropped with my Disney video next month in July. But I'm gonna do it all in one video, which I think is a different concept than what I did before. Because I would just do an unboxing or just do my picking. So I'm gonna do the picking. You're gonna see me at the flea market, and then once that ends, it's gonna jump right into the unboxing. So because I already got them back, so that's
Oh
kind of
wow.
cool. So I actually sent
Yeah.
off one of my good buddies, Hobby Hero. He presses a lot of books, so I thought I would give him a shout out there
Yeah.
and
Shout out.
sent my books up to him to get pressed, and he sent them off to CGC for me. So let's see how it goes. But
Awesome, man. I hope
yeah,
it goes well for you.
yeah, me too, man.
What's
This is some of
what's
those expensive books.
so
So,
what's some of your big wins, man? What's some of your big W's?
so unfortunately, a couple of my biggest W's over the last year or two, man, were not on film, unfortunately.
Oh,
So, like for example, I was going to one of my biggest Actually, probably one of my comic book collection buys. One day I said I wasn't going to go yard sale because I go every Saturday morning and stuff like that.
Yep.
And every once in a while I'll take a day off or something like that. But I got up Saturday morning to go to the grocery store because I was out of eggs. And as I was driving to the grocery store, I saw a community sale. I didn't have my GoPro with me, didn't do that. And I was like, I'll just stop by. And I stopped by. And I will tell you the biggest piece of advice if you're a picker out there.
Okay.
The power of the ask goes a long way. So I don't care if it's an 80-year-old grandmother. I don't care if it's a 10-year-old kid. Ask them for comic books. Ask them for videos. Ask them for what you like. So I put up this yard sale. It was a lady in her 50s. I said, she's like, hey, what are you looking for? I was like, oh, do you have any comic books? And she said, oh yeah, my uncle just passed away, and I inherited his 5 long boxes of books. She didn't say long box. She goes, I got 5 boxes of books. So I just thought walked in the house and it was 5 long boxes. And she sold me this whole collection for, I think about $150. So I think I paid like $30 a long box.
That's awesome.
Dude, I'm going through these, and there was 3, is it Planet Comics from the late 50s, early 60s.
Mm-hmm.
So there's three of those in I sent those off to CGC. They're a little beat up there and stuff like that. There's some like super rare Star Wars runs in there. It was mostly all Batman stuff, a lot of DC, but man, it was a killer boxes, man. And unfortunately, I didn't have my camera on me. And this is, you live and you learn. So this is another one is I was going through a community yard sale, and I asked, power of the ask, hey, do you have comic books, stuff like this, going through? And I went to a yard sale, and you ever go out and you feel like someone has your number, no matter where you go, like someone just beat you there or just beat you to the punch.
Yeah, man.
When the yard sale, every yard sale I would go to, these guys were always just like one step ahead of me. And I walked in there, the guy was going through a box of comic books. Some guy was going through some old sports cards. So for some reason, I had a gut feeling that I should go back. And I went back around. They actually never sold them because the guy lowballed them. So I got a box of 70s comic books, and the guy offered him 150, offered him 300, doubled what he was offering, just for the fact that hopefully he would bring me out his old baseball cards. And then he brought me out a shoebox that had 2 Mickey Mantles from 68, 67, had 2 Nolan Ryan rookie cards from 1968, 2 Johnny Bench rookie cards, Pete Maranovich, like Pat, right? All these rare sports cards. And unfortunately that day, my battery, it was a community yard sale. Mm-hmm. I learned now I carry 5 batteries on me, my GoPro. just because of this reason, my battery died as I was going through the comic books. I never got to record the sports cards. So never made it to my channel, man. So like stuff like that happens, man. You live and you learn, but just like everything else, I mean, you just can't get not everything's going to be a huge win, but
true.
What about you, man?
Do what now?
Yeah, I want to hear your big wins over time.
Some big wins. Well, I'm not a seller really. I can't bring myself to sell thing, but I got
big finds.
I'll show you one good find. And it's not like a huge, like massive big key book, but I just want you to keep in mind I found this in a dollar bin. Hold on.
Okay.
It's right
All
here. Right. Actually, both of these. Yeah, I pulled. Hold on, let me grab this other one. This one's cool, dude.
So Hobby Hero's actually doing videos on another channel called Hobby Hero Plays. He's focusing on the new Disney card game now too. He is going to be doing some more comic book stuff, but he was actually taking a break because he moved, and then he's actually opening up a pressing service, which he does a great job pressing. So,
dude, I pulled this out of it. I pulled that out of
That's a huge win. Yeah, man.
Dollar bin.
That's
another dollar bin.
Oh yeah.
Newsstand. Secret Wars 1.
Absolutely, man.
Savage She-Hulk 1. Newsstand.
Is that dollar bin too?
Dollar bin.
Jeez, flea markets?
McKay's used CDs and tapes.
Oh, yes. I've been there before.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. They're really hit or miss, man. Sometimes I can go there for 6 months and not find anything but garbage. And I can go there sometimes and find gold. It just, I don't know. But you brought up a good point a second ago. And it's something that I hear on a lot of really good picker channels. And I wanted to be sure to mention it. The fact that you ask about stuff, even when you don't see an item. Always ask, do you have comics? Do you have video games? Do you have whatever you're looking for? Ask them. I can't tell you how many picker reseller videos I've watched where they didn't see the item out, or even me myself at a flea market. I won't see the comics, but I ask if they have them, and
Yeah.
out from underneath the table, they'll pull a short box out. Or
Yeah.
you just never know. That, and also telling everyone that you know what you're into. Like,
Correct.
let everyone you know that you're a big comic book dork. That way, when comic books are mentioned, your name also gets mentioned. And
100%, man.
I've gotten so many comic books that way,
Yeah.
just inherited so many books.
And the third rule, here we go. To add to that is, do not give people your number. You take down their number when you are in negotiations or talking, or they say, "Oh yeah, I got this. Give me your number. I'll hit you up later on," because it falls through all the time. So what I always tell people is, "Hey, let me take your number so I can text you, so then you have my number." So if you take their number, you have a direct contact. It may not, nothing may come of it. Listen, if I give my number to 20 people, maybe 10 of them will even respond or reach back out to me, and then out of those 10, maybe I'll get 5 to send me pictures, and then out of those 5, maybe I'll get 2 deals, 3 deals, 1 deal out of those, but that 1 deal could be a massive score. You just never
True.
know.
Yeah,
That's
man.
the same reason why you keep going back to that shop, because you might hit dead ends for 6 months, and then boom, you hit that gold, and it's worth it for those 6 months to keep going, stopping in there for 10 minutes a time, you know?
And I can't get it out of my head. The one
Yes,
time that I went in there and I scored those books, like it's always in
correct.
the back of my mind. So
Absolutely, man.
that's my
Yep.
motivation for going and constantly hunting whenever I get a chance. What would you say is your motivation for what makes you want to go out? Is it, well, if you're with you, it's different because you do it for a living. So I guess
Yeah.
your motivations are going to be different than mine.
Yeah, but at the same point in time is what people don't understand is that I'm a collector first and foremost. So like I have the same collector mindset that everyone does. So when
Okay.
I go and I find these awesome picks, like I'm buying stuff for my personal collection priority over like me putting food in my mouth, to be honest with you, because that's my passion. That's what I love doing. Yeah, yes. Does it, my motivation, I guess, would be, I mean, at the end of the day, it was not to have a boss that knows less than me tell me what to do, because we've all been in that
Yeah.
position. We
Yeah.
all know, more than your boss, or you know more about your job position than your boss does, and they're telling you how to do it. And, having to set to a schedule and, not being able to support my family and stuff like that. Cause, I took a leap of faith, man, to be honest with you, because I literally, well, at the time, me and my fiance, actually, no, we weren't even engaged at the time. We signed paperwork to build a brand new home, and that was in 2021.
Mhm.
And it took a year for that home to be built, and then we got engaged, and then we got married, and then we literally moved into this new home, and then I literally quit my job probably 4 or 5 months later, man. I just had enough, man. I got to the point where I was so depressed. I didn't want to get up in the morning. I didn't want to, and I'm a very motivated person, man. I mean, I still did the things I want to do, but I even have a video on my channel where, you're just a number, unfortunately, when it comes to the corporate world. So money's
Yeah.
not everything. Make sure you guys do something that you guys do love. And I cannot preach this long enough, because life's too short, man. Life is way too short. Over the past year, I lost one of my best friends. Wasn't drug related. It wasn't, he was in out of shape. He had a heart attack. They had called the Widowmaker, where it's genetic. He was 41, 42.
I'm
And
sorry
just,
to hear that, man.
it happens, man. It's part of life. But at the same point in time is, man, like, it helps put things in perspective for you, because like he was healthy. He went to gym, worked out and stuff like that. He took care of himself, and just life's too short. You just never know what could happen, man. You could literally walk across the street, get hit by a car tomorrow,
Yep.
and I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm going to live my life the way I want to live it. And I quit my job professionally. I wrote a note to the CEO of the company saying I'm quitting my job. And I was like, hey, man, I was promised all these bonuses. They just jerked me around for over a year and gave me all kind of bullshit excuses. And he blew me off. And I was like, I've saved this company millions of dollars. I worked in the medical industry, and I did contracts at the time, and I got fed up. I filmed it, popped on YouTube. I literally took my monitors in the middle of the street and smashed them. I said, "There's my new 2-week notice. Fuck this, I quit." Yeah,
Damn.
I won like a 5 or 10 minute rant telling people that you need to do what you love to do. You need to stop taking shit from people, and you need to, have a passion in life, man. And I've never looked back. So,
dude, and that's awesome, man. Congratulations. You have so much to be thankful for, and you've came so far in just
thank
the
you, man.
time that I've been watching you. But congratulations on getting married and your success with the channel and just everything with your life, dude. I've just from what I've seen, it looks like you've had a hell of a year, man.
Yeah,
So
man, I appreciate it. you know, it's a journey, man. It's always a journey. You got to keep it fun. You got to keep it interesting. You know, I don't do anything boring, as you can tell by my channel and like, you know, it's the stuff I'm talking about right now. But you know, I love every minute of it. I love the community, and also too, like, I want to say thank you because you know I wouldn't have opened up so many comic book mystery boxes or kept continuing the comic book, getting stuff graded and popping those on YouTube there for a while, just for the fact that it wasn't for the support of the comic book community. Like Legions of Comics, man, like he was one of the first people that you know commented on my videos, and he started spreading the word for me and like trying to push it out to other people. And like
He's awesome.
he never had to do that, man. Mark's great. Like
Yeah.
I owe him a lot of credit. DJ Links, I reached out to him originally in the very beginning.
Shout out DJ Links.
You know, yeah, I mean he was great. Like Hobby Hero's great. Like this, I mean, Nick's Kicks and Comics, like you know, like there's so many people in this community that are just great, man. I know there's a lot of people I'm missing, so in that, but I mean, just the fact that you guys host each other in the lives, you guys are doing, you know, you guys are sending each other free gifts, like it's awesome. The community is awesome. It really sucked me in there. You know, next year I plan on going to some conventions, probably meeting up some people, doing some filming for the conventions on my YouTube channel.
Me too, man.
Yeah, I just, you know, the biggest thing for me is the evolution, because I can only go to so many garage sales, so many flea markets. I can only go to so many, you know, buys like this before it gets repetitive and boring. So, you know, the biggest thing is for me, like I literally before we went on this, I don't know if it's going to come true though, but I wrestled on the indies with a wrestler. His dad was a WWF wrestler. He's a second generation wrestler, and I just talked to him on the phone. Hopefully, we may go out and meet up this week if everything works out. And I'm going to go to his house. He has a bunch of old merchandise from his dad. I may buy some stuff, do a film for our for the channel and stuff like that, promote that.
That'd be cool.
So let's cross the fingers. Let's hope that goes through and nothing falls through in that. I want to start hitting some conventions. You know, I even thought about opening up a second channel, man, just to do more stuff on the business side of reselling, just to help back and get back to the communities. Because there's a lot of stuff where people don't know to start. I would do some how-to videos on that.
Yeah.
But I mean, the pick and punching strictly now just entertainment, because entertainment with some education along the way. Because yes, it's the whole, like American Pickers. Like you may not be a picker or Pawn Stars. You may not go to Pawn, you know, to sell things off, but you like watching the journey of people doing that. But you also want to learn along the way. So I try to you know keep it entertaining, but also throw in those little tidbits here and there of education for people to help out.
Yeah, yeah. And there are so many good picking channels out there, but my three favorite, I'll name my three favorites for you real quick. And you're in those three.
Oh, awesome.
Cincinnati Picker. You ever heard of Cincinnati Picker?
I know John personally. Yeah.
Yeah, cool guy. Commonwealth Picker.
He's gonna be in my upcoming videos. I actually went to Virginia. We did the 100-mile sale. We actually one of my videos. If you go to my YouTube channel, it's called I Left Him Speechless. Me and him actually went picking together. We did a massive Family Guy buy. So this guy invited us into this bomb in his house. Like I said, the power of the ass. We got into the guy's house, into his basement, and the guy was a massive Family Guy collector. And I'm not talking about just like DVDs. I'm talking about every single action figure, every single like board game. Like he had like just the weirdest shit too. Like he had like every single pajama set still brand new from like what Walmart had from like 2005. He had like all like the cups, you know, like at Christmas time, you get like the cups with like the hot cocoa and like stuff. He had those brand new still in the package, all kind of crazy stuff, man. Dude, we literally got, I think we estimated between like $3,500 and $4,000 worth of stuff for a few $100. So if you watch it, yeah, me and him did a video together, man. So, there's Legion of Comics, man. What's up, man? I was just talking about you, man. I'm giving you some love, bro.
Yeah, shout out Mark. What's up, man? Yeah. Glad you could make it.
Mark, I don't know if he was here earlier, but Mark, I said that I'm very thankful for, man. When I first started my channel, you were one of the first people that I remember commenting on my channel and help passing around. So I never ever got to say thank you for that, but I want to say thank you, man. And I do appreciate everything you do for the community.
Yeah, Mark's an awesome guy. Yeah, I talk to Mark pretty much every day. He's a really good dude. Anything I need, man, I know I can hit him up and he'll be there. He's awesome. But let's talk about your wrestling for a minute, man. I want to touch on that a little bit. What you got going on with the rest? I'm not as familiar with the wrestling, but I would like to be though.
Yeah. So I'm towards the end of my wrestling, to be honest with you, man. And unfortunately, my body is breaking down. So I actually took off the BM part this year just for the fact that I was getting married. I had my honeymoon coming up and stuff like that. And, so I wrestled at the end of last year, my last time I wrestled. And it's just, I'm older, man. I started wrestling in my early 30s. And, unfortunately, I didn't start in my 20s like a lot of other guys did and stuff like that. And, over the years, your body, my body breaks down, man. Dude, I played college football. I took up like full contact kickboxing. I did jiu-jitsu tournaments. My body gets beat up over the years. And and it got to the point, man, when I would wrestle, like I would go to drive to Georgia, I wrestle a show, man, and literally I have a 4-hour ride home, and like if I stop to get gas, man, I'm literally my back like locks up at the pump. I have to like literally lay in the ground and try to do some exercises just to get my back going up and stuff like that. But body got beat up, but man, I would say, I mean, it doesn't mean I'm completely done. I will probably do some one-off shows here and there and stuff like that. But on a consistent basis, I'm taking more of a step back from the wrestling. Okay. There's a couple of reasons why that. I mean, I got to accomplish more than what I thought I would. When I first started wrestling, man, all I want to do, I was just like a lot of people in the comic book industry. You live, you breathe the comic books. As a kid, pro wrestling, man, that's all, because it was, and this goes hand in hand with comic books, because it was suspending reality. That's what wrestling did for me. So it didn't matter. My house was on fire. My dog could be dead. My parents could be in a car accident. But if I'm sitting there watching WrestleMania, nothing else in the world will matter. I know it's horrible to say it like that, but that's just how I feel about wrestling. That's the passion I have it, because I get sucked into the storyline, and over the years, it would just, it was my escape. Just like for comic books with people, man, you open it up, you start reading, that storyline sucks you in. That's why it was a nice transition from wrestling to comic books for me, because it was all about the story. That's what made me fall in love with wrestling, made me fall in love with comic books. And so with wrestling, man, I start out, so I just wanted to just be part of the industry. And I started out my character, I was trying to find a good name for it, and my real name is Rod. So I was, I wanted to use that. And I was like, I need something, because I was a heel. I need something gross. I need something, something dirty, something grimy. And I was like, Grimes, Rod Grimes. Oh, that sounds great, And then then I was like, man, what can I come up with a name? I was like, I need something despicable, some type of like a scoundrel. I was like, oh, Scoundrel Rod Grimes. So that's how I just pretty much came up with that name. And then my character, like you've seen my character outfit and stuff like that. I think I sent you a picture of that and stuff like that. But when I was coming up my gimmick and my character and stuff like that, I wanted to know, like, if I was 5 years old, what did I remember most as a kid? It was like the Legion of Doom with the shoulder pads and the giant spikes on them. It was the Demolition with their all black leather, little spikes, face paint. That was the biggest thing for me, man. Like, I fell in love. It didn't matter. So if you went to a wrestling show, you could not remember their names, but you remember what they look like, because they made an impact on you. So when I created my character, I created a mask I wanted a Hannibal Lecter type of mask, and I had barbed wire added to it. And I literally had a professional mask maker make that thing. And man, it was awesome. I spent hundreds of dollars on that mask, but man, I got so many compliments. I'm getting so many bookings just based on my outfit and everything else. And, and then from there, I wrestled a couple matches, and on the indies, I just started taking off for me. So I started getting booked throughout Florida. And for people who don't know, the indies are like the minor league of like Major League Baseball. So just being, you're signed to like the New York Yankees, you're kind of a free agent, do whatever you want, but you're just waiting for that call up from a bigger company. You're waiting that call up to the major leagues. That's what the indies are. So, it sucks though, because you travel, like you're traveling 4 hours, 6 hours, 10 hours to a show. You're making cents in the dollar. You're spending gas. I mean, people are sleeping in their cars, sleeping in hotels. It just, it's shitty, but also like you love every minute of it, because it's about the journey. It's the journey that, that builds your character, builds who you are. So I started doing that, and then I got a big break. New Japan Pro Wrestling. They're like the WWE of Japan. I was got picked to be part of their camp, so I got a tryout camp out in LA for their LA dojo. So I went out there, I trained out there for a week with some like the top New Japan stars, stuff like that. I mean, nothing came of it from it, but it was a great experience. I was only wrestling for like 6 months or a year at the time, and I got called over there, did that, and then
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so that was awesome. I got to wrestle my trainer Jay Lethal. So I mean, if you
Dude,
I mean, the
that's
guy.
sweet.
So if you guys want to, you guys probably have all seen it, but if you haven't, go on YouTube, and look up Ric Flair and Jay Lethal, and they do the woo. You may have seen the meme where when two dogs meet each other and they're going woo woo woo, going back and
Yeah.
forth, man. So yeah, it's crazy, but I got to wrestle Jay, and then like he opened up some doors for me too, and then like I got to go to like Ring of Honor, which was it's not quite like the WWF, it wasn't quite like AEW, but it was almost a step below those guys, but still
Okay.
a national company. And so I got to do some extra work for them. I got beat up in the ring on TV. I got punched by Bubba Ray Dudley and the Briscoe brothers, like in the
Sweet.
side of the head in the middle of a freaking breaking up a brawl, and someone just punched me. I had a big goose egg inside my head for like a week straight.
Shit.
Like there's a guy named Dalton Castle who has these guys called the Boys, and they dress up in like these like flamboyant outfits, and like I was one of Dalton Castle's boys live on pay-per-view, had to come out and like do stuff, and like yeah, so it was cool, man. I got to do that, and then
That's awesome,
I
man.
got called to this is probably the most heartbreaking part, and just gonna get to my wrestling thing, but then I start getting calls for the WWE to go to NXT. So I got called down there, and like, dude, the first time I got down there, like I walked in, there's Triple H, there's Shawn Michaels, like
Oh,
people that
shit.
I saw in my childhood, you know what I mean? Got to shake their
Yeah.
hands, talk to them. And like I didn't get used at all my first time at NXT. I got called back again. I got to be an extra on TV. It was breaking up fights in the parking lot, but it was cool. Like
Cool.
Triple H was the producer of the segment. So like we're gonna work with like Triple H backstage and stuff like that. They
That's
made
really
me,
cool.
yeah, dude. They made me go through like a full physical, go all this stuff. But dude, it was like I would go down there and I'm there from like 3 o'clock to like 11 o'clock at night, and they go through the entire thing. And dude, they pay like $200 for the day. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't about the pay. They could, they could have gave me 10 cents. I would have been freaking tickle pink.
Yeah.
It's just the experience, man. To go through all that. So
That sounds like fun.
So here's the heartbreaking part. Then, so in pro wrestling, leading up to like you have these big cons like everyone's going to the Hero Con, stuff like that. So let's just say Hero Con was like or say San Diego Comic Con is like the comic book Super Bowl, WrestleMania of comic books. So where everyone goes out there, like the big event. So and then there's like for wrestling, WrestleMania, you have WrestleMania, but during WrestleMania week, you have all these indie shows that are like surrounding the event. And I started getting booked on for WrestleMania weekend at these indie shows, and that can make or break a lot of people's careers and stuff like that. And then I was supposed to be part of WrestleMania as an extra in the Tampa Bay area when they were coming to Tampa Bay. That was the same year that COVID hit and they canceled WrestleMania.
Oh,
so
man.
unfortunately, I never got that opportunity. So it would have been cool,
Yeah.
man. Like, having the opportunity to go there, and that was kind of like started the downfall of my wrestling at that time. Because when COVID, because dude, I'm also older. Like I was doing it for 5-6 years at the time, and then once that hit, man, it's like almost like having to start over again. And that kind of just kills any momentum you have. Like,
Yep.
at that point in time, I started building my YouTube channel. That started taking off. That's opening up a lot more doors for me, not only through like the community, through financially, through all kind of different aspects. And and that's has more longevity than what wrestling does. And
True.
wrestling's a shitty industry, man. I love it, but like it's everyone's out for themselves. The comic book community, you guys everyone's together, helping each other out. But man, it's like it's a dog eat dog world. Everyone's ready to stab you in the back just to to get their opportunity. Not say that anything that's happened like that, but you just see like that type of industry, man. So, but hey, it is what it is, man. It's part of life. You just got to move on. You just pivot and you keep going. You can't cry over spilled milk.
True. That's true. I mean, it seems like you've got everything going in a pretty good direction now. Like I like what you're doing now, man, with the picking and reselling and the channel. It seems like you got a good thing.
Yeah, I love it, man. So I mean, just like anything else, man, when shit hits the wall, you got to pivot and find something else. I can't tell you how many items I've stopped selling or started reselling other items or changed my business, man, just for the fact that you just never know, man. You just got to be on the just be able to pivot and be able to change at any point in time and adapt.
Well, let me ask you, you were talking about you went through some times where you were kind of down and out and everything. What do you think got you through it? Like, what were some of the things that you did that you were able to pull yourself out and get yourself to where you're at now?
Yeah. So, I mean, my biggest thing is I am self motivated, man, and I know that's not everyone out there, and I like to challenge myself. So but you also like I don't put all my eggs in one basket. So I have my head on a pivot. I'm always trying to be one step ahead with things. So like you can start seeing with like the writing on the wall. You can start seeing with something. Sometimes when people the only thing they have is one thing, like it's very devastating. Don't get me wrong, like it was a tough time, when that happened. But at the same point in time is like if you can build it up once, like why can't you build it up again? It's like you see all these people in the news that they file bankruptcy and then next thing you know, they're back to being a millionaire again and building up their business or lost everything, build it back up. Like you just got to keep pushing forward, man. You just got to, what's the alternative, man? Like I'm going to sit at home and be depressed and drink a bottle of whiskey or go down that route. No, I don't want to go that route, man. Like I'm
Yeah.
at this point in time is man, I have a family. I got
Mhm.
you know, this is what I love to do, man. I refuse to give up. So that's why I'm so motivated with my channel right now. Is you mentioned Commonwealth Picker, dude. I literally drove from my house, which is 10 hours. I drove from my house to Virginia. I live in Tampa. He lives in Virginia. And I drove all the way up there, stayed with him for like 3, 4 days. And
Wow.
we did like we probably did like 4 or 5 videos
He's
up
awesome.
there. Yeah, dude, he's awesome. But it was a good time though. But it's about networks, it's about the community. Like, why did all these YouTubers in the comic book industry go to HeroCon? Because it's there meet the other people. It's there for the event. It's there for the social aspect of it.
Yeah.
Because you always have. Here's the thing: is you always have to have your eyes open about what as the grass isn't always greener there on the other side. But at the same
Yep.
point in time, is man, the alternative is not better either. So you just have to find something. You have to find something that is going to keep you going. So I just have multiple things that motivate me on a day to day basis. Sometimes I wake up, and if you guys are in a slump, dude, go on YouTube every morning and watch a motivational video to start your day off. It will
Okay.
change your life, man. Watch a 2, 3 minute motivation video on how you start your day off, and it'll get your mindset in the right position. So it's all
Okay.
about just like here's the thing: is when you go to the gym, like you start lifting weights, like you're not going to be there a bodybuilder right away. It's something you have to work for. You have to train your muscles and do that. You have to
Mhm.
train your mind as well. So
Okay.
it's something where a lot of people don't do. I know that you said that, hey man, you went to doctor, you have to get your mind straight today. You're doing things to make sure that you're on the right path with things.
Yep.
We
Maintenance.
all have to do that. So it doesn't matter if it's a motivation video, it doesn't matter if it's talking to someone, it doesn't matter if it's just having a community like this as an outlook for you to get your mind off your shitty day-to-day life. If it takes it away for an hour, like this is great. So that's why I love why you guys are doing these things.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm so glad that you could come hang out with us tonight. And actually, I don't guess we even have to end it right now. You want to hang out for a little while
Let's
longer?
do it, man. Man, I got nothing to do. Let's do it.
I don't see
So
really why we have to end it right now. They're on break this week. So
yeah, man. If you
um
want to keep talking, we'll talk some more.
what's some advice that you would offer someone? Okay, like me, for example, I have a lot of stuff that I need to sell. Like I
Okay.
need to sell some stuff. How would I myself get into doing some reselling? Like what would you recommend? What should I what do I do? And leading up to it, and like what should I use? Should I go the eBay route? Should I go Macari? Like
All right.
what would be the best way to do that?
So eBay is the 800-pound gorilla in the room. Okay. What I mean by that is it's going to trump any other website out there other than Amazon. But you can't be on Amazon. Okay, you can't. You are gated. There's a certain process you have to go through. So your next best thing is going to be eBay. eBay has 140 million people on there. Macari
Mm,
may have like a tenth of that on there. Okay,
yeah,
so there's a
yeah,
big difference. Doesn't mean you can't sell on multiple platforms, but I always say that eBay is going to be your best bang for your buck because it's going to have the most people on there. So if you're trying to move your stuff, eBay is going to be a good thing. These other websites are alternative, and yes, I do sell on these other websites as well. Also, too, man, if anyone here is one to get interested in reselling or have questions, my DMs are always open on Facebook, Picking and Punching, or on
awesome.
Instagram, Picking and Punching. Send me messages all the time. On Tuesday nights, man, I do a podcast with the Nurse Flipper, and we talk reselling for 2 hours, and we answer just nothing but questions live for people. So
Cool.
I do that. I do that every week, free of charge. Same thing in my. You guys can send me a message on Instagram. If you guys have any questions about reselling, I'm here to help because I never had anyone to take me by the hand. I started selling on eBay in 1999,
Oh
and
wow.
I never had someone to help me. I learned all this stuff the hard way along the way. So there's so many resources out there for you. Go on YouTube. You can watch some tips on stuff. I would say find someone that to be successful, you want to find someone who's already successful in that area. So like if you want to start a YouTube channel, find someone who's doing it right now and ask them questions. You want to open a comic book store, talk to someone who has a comic book store, find out the pros and cons to that, because they're going to point you in the right direction and help you get to where you want to get. So the biggest thing is talk to someone who's already selling on eBay. You talk to me, man, I'll help you on that aspect. You got to figure out why you're trying to sell things. Are you trying to sell things to clear out space? Are you trying to sell things because you need the money? Are you trying to, so if it's something where people need the money, or like, for example, when I buy a big lot, say if I buy 13 lawn boxes and I need to recoup my money as much as possible, when I buy a big lot of things, I use the 80-20 rule. I need to get back 80% of my money on 20% of my items. So if I buy a big lot of items, I'm taking those top 20, maybe say I have 100 items, I'm taking those 20 items, this is on eBay, I should get my money back. That means that those other 80 items are going to be pure profit. Now, it doesn't always work those ratios out. Okay. It kind of gives you like an understanding what you want to do. But if you're looking to sell, man, good pictures. Descriptions really don't matter, but make sure you take pictures of any type of flaws in the items, front and back. You don't want to overdo the pictures where you're wasting too much time. And your title has 80 characters on there. Use every single one of those 80 characters because it's going to maximize your SEO, which is your search engine optimization, and it's going to help you get as much, the much eyes on your items as possible. So, for example, like if you have a Punisher comic book, you're not going to just put Marvel Punisher book #1. You're going to put, Marvel comic books. You put DC comic books. You're going to put other stuff in that title because you want anyone who's searching something, you want that to pop up in their searches. So it's just, that's kind of the beginning steps on there. And then also too, just research, man. You can search comps on eBay, sold items. The last, what is sold in the last 90 days. Yeah. I always search by 2 ways. I see what's sold, what's the probably the last, like what's sold in the last 30 days, but I also search from highest to lowest just for the fact to make sure that there's no variance out there or something that you may have missed that you didn't know. So for example, like when I started selling video games, I didn't realize that the PS1, they had greatest hits, and then they had the regular black label. I didn't realize the black label can sell for a premium or the greatest hits. So like little variants like that, you just may not know. Or maybe there's a variant or an error on something that you just never knew about, and you could be leaving hundreds of dollars on the table. So I would search highest to lowest, and then always search from the most recent, because highest to lowest might be, might sell 90 days ago for a higher price, but then at that point in time, maybe the NBA Finals was going on, so all the NBA fans are super high for items. Now the season's over. Now those items are going to be less because out of season. Or like Marvel, like there's a show on Disney Plus. Well, that show was hot 2 months ago. Those books are higher, but now that show has ended. Now the most recent. Now the books are starting to drop down a little bit. So it kind of gives you understanding where the market was, but also where it is recently. So that gives you a better understanding of things.
So are you taking the sold comps and kind of doing an average and getting your price from that?
So for me I would tell you probably in as a collector, you guys will have a really tough, this would be a good conversation to have, because you're going to because you value your items, and me too, certain items I value very highly. So I don't want to sell items for certain prices. Like I don't want to sell it for below market value because I cherish that item. So I'm going to list it higher on there. But also too is like in the industry I work in, I'm flipping. My job is to flip items to get items in and get items out. So what I always try to do is maybe right up market value or below market value, unless it's like a high-end item. Like some of my comic books may be overpriced on what the current market is. But the fact is that I might be the only one who has a 9.8 newsstand on the market price. And I'll give you an example. Like I had a G.I. Joe 9.8 newsstand, and the last one probably sold for like $700, and I sold mine for I think $1,200 just for the fact that I'm the only one who had it on the market. So I was setting a new market standard price on there just for the fact that no one else is going to find that book at a high grade. So you can do stuff like that if you're okay sitting on items. So that's a one-off item, So it just depends on kind of what route you want to take. But I can help you with that, man. We can have that conversation in private as well.
Cool. Awesome, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you've always been so willing to help me, man. I really appreciate that, dude.
Not just you, man, but that's everybody, man, because no one was there to help me in the very beginning, not because people weren't helpful, because I didn't have the there wasn't a YouTube in 1999 when I started selling on eBay. You know what I mean? Like that was something that come down the line. So like I had to learn all this stuff along the way. And I'm always here to help because, growing up as a kid, I went to the Philadelphia Eagles training camps a lot. So they used to have training camp was like 15, 20 minutes from my house.
Cool.
So I would go there and I would meet all these players. I would go wait in front of the cafeteria in the mornings. I was only one of the only people there, get all my stuff, autographed, stuff like that. And everybody would be like super cool with me. And then there were some guys that just being the biggest dick. And I always said to myself, like, if I was on a platform where I could help other people, or dude, like there's no one else there. It was just me and another kid. We were like 12, 13 years old. Like, why be a dick to us kids?
Yeah.
We're the only ones there. Like that, it's uncalled for at that point in time. So for me, I always told myself, man, if anyone needs help, if I ever have a platform where I'm in front of people, I will help out as much as possible. I'll answer questions. I'll do whatever it takes. Like you asked me to be in a podcast, I'll be in your podcast. Like, I'm here to give back to the people because I wouldn't be where I am if people didn't help me along the way. So that's why you always got to pay it forward, man. That's the biggest thing in life.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a really awesome way to be, a good attitude to have in life in general, honestly. Well, what are some of the goals that you have for Picking and Punching for the next year? Like, what do you have coming up over the next year? Anything like really good? You said you got the Disney thing.
Yeah, I got the massive Disney collection. I got that. I'll be doing another unboxing with the CGC, but with my comic book flea market pickup, which is going to be cool. I'm trying to collab more, man, with other creators out there because, I want to grow my channel as much as possible. One of the good things you're doing here, you're getting people on here every single week. So you're getting in front of new eyes. And,
so much fun, man.
Yeah, so man. Yeah. People aren't afraid to give away treat seekers, man. Yeah, man. There's no secrets out there, man. I mean, people that hoard them or people think he made a good point, man. People are afraid to give out trade secrets, and I'll tell you why. Because they're afraid that someone's going to do it better than them. And at the same point in time is the way I look at it is you're not going to outwork me. You're not going to hustle me. And that's not me being cocky. That's just not me being confident and stuff like that. I'm a hustler. I know what I do best, and I know how I do my thing. So I can tell you all my secrets. I'll tell you everything that I do because you have to bust your ass and work to do what I do. So if you can do what I do, or if you can do better than me, man, more power to you. And now I can learn from you. You know what I mean? It's all about bringing people up at the same point in time but man, if you're afraid to give away your secrets or try to help other people, that's bullshit because, we're all in this together and we need to help each other as much as possible.
Absolutely, man. For sure.
Yeah. So you asked me about my channel. I'm thinking about starting a second channel just to help to get back to the community. That's the biggest thing. I'm not going to say the name of it. My logo is actually being produced as we speak.
Nice.
So that's something. Yeah. So that's something I've been talking about for a while there. More tutorial videos, more behind the scenes stuff. When I do my picking channel, I would like to show people what's sold. I like to show people, how to package stuff up, how to do stuff. But at the same point in time is you turn in that channel for entertainment, for the hunt. You don't turn in the channel to watch other things. So I don't want to push away anyone. I have a good thing going with that channel. I think doing a separate channel just to focus on those things and niche down in that is going to be better for the community and keep doing what I'm doing. But yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, man, going forward, over the next year, I want to start hitting up horror conventions, comic book conventions, toy conventions, add that stuff to it. I want to start doing some private picks. I want to start reaching out, go to maybe some toy shops, comic book shops, do some hunting on those, see if I can find items to buy for my collection, but also find underpriced valued items so I can flip online too. And that's, people do that with video games. There's, like Phoenix Resale and like Chase at the Right Price, a couple of channels that go to video game stores and buy underpriced items and sell them on Amazon. Yep. But I mean, you can also do that for eBay too with other things. And you make some good connections, man. So, and then also too, I would like to do some celebrity picks, to be honest with you. I'm going to try to like go that way because I do have some connections with like the wrestling industry and some other things. And I would like to do some, man, it may be like a B celebrity, maybe a C. I mean, but the same thing is you're just starting out, man. So maybe go to some professional, some people have been on national television, do some personal picks there.
Man, that'd be awesome.
It's just, something different, man. So.
Dude, I can't wait. I can't wait to see some of this stuff.
Yeah, man.
Let's see. Well, how do you balance everything? Like you got your channel, you got family, you got work, reselling your work, all that. How do you balance everything and make it all work?
It's called organized chaos, man. I feel like the more stuff I put on my plate, the more difficult my life gets. But at the same point in time, is the better I perform doing it.
Yeah.
But also too is also learn how to manage your time. So like when I film my YouTube stuff, like when I go yard sailing, you may see me. I may spend like 4 hours on a Saturday morning. I may hit up 30 yard sales. Okay.
Okay.
But those 30 yard sales may turn into 3 videos. So I can not, when I go out and I do that. So it's funny is like people will bust my balls and they're like, oh man, how can you make a full-time living? I just watched your video and you only made, you spent $50 and you only made $500. You can't live off that. I'm like, bro, that was within half an hour of, I'm only showing you a part of what I do. There's other things. Now, sometimes I do have a shitty weekend. Sometimes I have a phenomenal weekend, but the biggest thing is just learning how to do stuff. Like, for example, today I spent my day just batching editing. So I'll probably edit 2 or 3 videos throughout the day. So I'll have those done for the next week and a half.
Smart.
That. And then I also have a wife that's really, really cool and super supportive, man. Yeah. Matt Cardona. Yeah. He does get some crazy numbers, man, for his. And he focuses on the wrestling. He has a wrestling figure podcast and he does all the wrestling figure toys. So yeah, he definitely does a good route to go, man. When it comes to her though, she works as an RN, so it's cool. When she works her shifts, she works 3 to 4 days a week, and she works 12-hour shifts.
Okay.
So because I'm self-employed, I schedule my work around her. So I don't sleep. So like I'll go to bed like 1 o'clock. I'm up at like 5, 6 o'clock every morning.
Oh, wow.
That's just how I function. And but for her, like, so for example, like I'll get up, I'll work in the morning, she'll get up, and then we'll spend the day together for 3, 4 hours. And then, when she goes to bed, because it's 7 o'clock, because she has to be up at 5 a.m. the next morning, I'll work from like 7 o'clock at night to like midnight. So like I don't work a set schedule, but it allows me to take the kid to school, allows me to, take care of our pets, allows me to just spend more quality time with the family. So I work probably more now than I did my regular job.
Yeah.
But I love it's not work, man. I love what I do. So
yeah. And no, you're your own boss. So
yeah.
that's, man, I can't even imagine how cool that must be.
It's cool, but also too, man, like if I fuck up, I fuck up everything, So like I at the same point in time is yes, it's cool, but like it's a lot of pressure. But at the same point in time is, I mean, you just you have to not let get down on things and let things get to you. Because I have a couple like, dude, I would tell you after I had in 9 weeks, within a 9-week period, I had my wedding, so I took off work for a week, and then my dad came to stay with me from Pennsylvania for like. We got married in Savannah, Georgia, and then that was only about 4 hours from Tampa where I live. But my dad drove down from Pennsylvania, so he came to stay with me. So I took off like 10 days there. Then I worked for like 2 weeks, and then I took off. Me and my wife, we went to Spain and Italy for a honeymoon. So
Nice.
we took that was a 10-day trip. But then my dad
Wow.
drove down to take care of my pets, so like he stayed another 4 or 5 days. So like I didn't work for 2 weeks there, and then I drove to Virginia to do the stuff with the Commonwealth Picker. I took off about a week to go up and do all that stuff. And so, dude, within 9 weeks, I didn't work 5 weeks. So, like on eBay, there's 2 ways people search. They search by newly listed or ending that day. Well, if you're not listing items on a consistent basis on eBay, you start to see like a decline. Even though I had my store, my items were selling, but not listing for 5 weeks, like that just like devastated my store. So literally for like the past month, I was literally making like 3/4 of what I was normally making week after week. And like that starts to like get to you after a while. Now things are starting to go back in the right direction. But like, I just had to really buckle down. So sometimes, man, you just have to bite the bullet and like maybe put in 12 hours, work days but then you get the flexibility to take time off like I did too. So
yeah. Well, what are some things that you enjoy doing when you don't have to work and you have spare time? Like you actually have a little bit of spare time. What do you like doing?
yeah, so honestly, man, like one of my favorite things is just going through boxes. Like when I buy these lawn boxes, I have lawn boxes in my garage and on my shelving that I haven't touched. I haven't looked through in a year. So because like I might buy a collection here, buy a collection here. I bought mini collection. So I have like 25 lawn boxes just sitting around, and probably only like half of those have been fully gone through. Like I made like spot go through. So like some nights dude, I'll sit down, I'll grab a beer and just like, have the TV on, watching TV, and I'll just go through a lawn box for like 2, 3 hours. Like that's fun for me because I'm pulling stuff out, organizing stuff.
Yeah.
I do that. I'm a big video gamer, even though I don't play as much as I want to. So I love playing video games. I like watching horror movies. So like if the wife's in bed, the kid's sleeping, I turn off all the lights in the house. I'll put on like a really good horror movie. Dude, the worse the movie is, the better, man. I like the B-rated horror movies. Like,
Me too.
yeah, just like I'm one of those guys that just the worse it is, the better it is for me. But yeah, that's the stuff I have fun with, man. And honestly, man, I would go picking and selling on eBay for fun if I didn't do what I'm doing now for a living. So like, it's funny, is like I work, and then my wife's like, "Man, you're working all the time." I'm like, "No, this is fun for me. This isn't work." Like, she's like, "Stop listing on eBay. Stop going through stuff." Like, no, but this is fun, So
That's great though,
yeah,
man.
man.
That is, dude. I wish yeah, man. That kind of seems like you're living the dream as long as everything's doing well and you manage to stay on top of it, which you seem like the kind of guy that you could though.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same point in time, is man, you're on your way. Like, look, dude, you started this channel from zero, dude. When you started commenting on my stuff, you were in like, so it's funny is like as your channel grows, and you probably had the same thing. You could probably relate to this. There's certain people that comment on your stuff all the time that just those names either stand out, or like certain way people say things that just like it could be good, it could be bad, or certain people that you're gonna just things I say resonate with you. You're one of those people. Like, you started commenting on my stuff probably when you were like 100, 200, somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah.
Like early on in your YouTube days.
Yep.
Your boy's always on here too, commenting on my stuff too. And it's one of those things where, when it comes to the channel, you want your channel to grow. I totally lost my train of thought then. What were we just talking about? What was the question you asked me?
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, no, I said you're on your way. You're on your way with stuff though.
Yeah,
Like,
you're telling me. I've been watching you since about 100,
yeah,
200
but dude, like,
subscribers.
look at you though. Like, you start with a few hundred, and now you're over 1,000. Your channel's going. You have a weekly show. Like,
Yeah.
you all have to start somewhere, man. Like, if you
Yeah.
continue to grow your channel and stuff like that. Like, look at other people like Comic Tom, Gem Mint. Like, these people that do it full time. Like, they started out working a full-time job and doing this as a passion project, and then once your channel grows, man, maybe you get a sponsorships, maybe you start doing this. Now you can start investing more stuff back into the business, man. Like, I started out at zero and it just grows from there. We all got to start someplace. I started selling on eBay with literally less than $100. Now I have probably like hundreds of $1,000s of merchandise in my store, just for the fact that, like, that's not what I paid for it. But it's just because I keep nickels and dimes make dollars, man. You just little by little, you just keep upping your game along the way, and you just take that and you reinvest it back in. And it doesn't have to be financial. It could be time. It could be energy. It could be people you're dealing with. Like, you're starting this podcast now. You're doing this on a weekly basis. You're bringing people on here. Now we need to get more people. Get your name out there. Start growing it. That's what you're doing in this channel, man. So just keep doing what you're doing, man. You're on the right path.
Well, I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Dude, I keep seeing this. What's the Chucky thing? Is that a Child's Play in the frame back there?
Yeah, so that's just Child's Play. I actually met one of the actors, the kid that got Chucky the doll. I met him at there's a convention called Spooky Empire, which is in Orlando, Florida, twice a year. It's a horror movie convention, and got that one. And then there's like Gremlins. I met the guy from Gremlins, so that was autographed. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I met Gunnar Hansen at the time.
Leatherface.
So yeah, Leatherface. That's correct. So I would tell you probably the coolest things I ever got at a convention was I went on eBay and I did research. I tried to find out what the chainsaw was that they used in the original Texas Chainsaw. So I found a 1970s chainsaw. I bought it. I took the blade off and I brought it to the convention. I had him sign it, and he told me that they actually Frankensteined. So they actually took two separate models of chainsaws. They Frankenstein one chainsaw together for the movie. But he was super cool. He signed it for me and stuff like that. And then after he signed it, I went home and I put a piece of plastic over his autograph, and I stuck my hand, and I put a glove on, stuck my hand in red paint, and I flipped it like blood splatter.
Oh, that's cool.
I did a blood splatter over the entire guitar.
That's a good idea.
Over the entire chainsaw. And it was like one of my staples in my collection. And like I told you earlier, like I have some type of emotional connection to certain things, but I threw it up on eBay for like $1,000 because I didn't want to sell it, man. Didn't want to sell it all. And then when he passed away, someone freaking bought it off eBay, and I was like, well, at this point, I mean, that paid for my entire convention weekend. You know what I mean? Like that paid for every single RF at the convention. That paid for my hotels. They paid for my food. Paid for my beer.
That was
And
great.
some. You know what I mean? So like, so yeah. So when I go to conventions and stuff like that, sometimes I will invest in weird items to get people signed to put online. Yeah, Alex Vincent. That's right. I couldn't think of his name. Thank you. And then who played the panel could probably help me on this one. Friday the 13th. Who is the most famous Jason? I picture his face right now. I just can't think of his name.
I can't think of it.
Yeah, he played in probably like Jason Takes Manhattan. He was like 4 or 5 of the different ones, but I had him sign. I brought a big butcher knife and stuff like that. So I had him sign a knife. But he actually took a knife and stuck it in his eyeball at the convention. He won this like film. He actually took it and stuck it in his eye for the crowd that was there, and then signed it. It was probably the weirdest thing ever. But yeah, so he did that.
Is it Kane Legion and Dr. Von Hoot?
Yeah.
They said
here's a very interesting fact. So he actually, I went online, I found a CIB copy, complete in box of Friday the 13th for NES. And I brought it to the convention, and he got it. And he starts getting like pissed off. He's looking at this. He turns to his manager and he starts bitching to his manager at the time. And he looks at it. He's like, you know what? You know why I'm complaining about this? He goes, do you know how much money I made off this game? I mean, $0. They did, I guess he like off the merchandise of that. He made like no money off that, but he still signed it for me. It was cool. So I got that signed one time. And then Alex Vincent, believe it or not, at the convention, he'll dress up as in the Chucky jumpsuit. Like the overalls, he actually has overalls he brings to the convention. He does that for like maybe like 20 minutes or half an hour, and he'll take photos with you wearing his stuff, man. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, so it's cool, man. It's a good time, man. That's why I love conventions, man. Yeah, Friday the 13th, man. That's awesome.
Absolutely, man. Well, what are some of your favorite finds? Like, what's some of the best stuff that you found out hunting? Just some of the best treasures that you came up with.
Man, so I'm trying to think, man, over the years, I've got so much cool stuff. Like I'm a big Phillies fan, so I found like a pennant from like the Philadelphia Phillies World Series team from I don't know if it was I forget what it was. Maybe it was from the 60s or I forget what. This old pennant I got from the Philadelphia Phillies. It had like the whole team photo on. I found that when I was like a kid, stuff like that. That sold. I got that for like maybe $20, and I flipped that for like $150.
Oh, cool.
Honestly, man, one of my favorite things to buy a lot of times is action figures. I love buying toy lots because I like going through it all. So that's cool. One of my recent videos I did was I actually went to a guy's house. He had a 3D, his whole garage setup was with 3D printers. And what he would do is he would buy action figures from like the 80s and 90s with all the accessories complete. And then he would take it and then he would take all the accessories and he would make models of the 3D so he can actually he would scan them and stuff like that so he can do 3D printing as replacement parts. So he had a little website that he was selling Instagram and stuff like that, replacement parts for action figures. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, it was super cool. And then
really smart.
Yeah, super smart. And then the coolest thing is when I was there, he actually had the Ghostbuster Firehouse there, but he actually made custom pieces for it. So it looked like slime was dripping down the side of it. He made the Ghostbusters 2 logo for like the little piece that hangs off the firehouse, little sign. Like, yeah, he did all this cool. It's actually in my video, one of my videos on my channel. It was a weird deal. Like we made a big deal. We're negotiating back and forth, and then he found out I had a Nolan Ryan rookie card. So like, yeah, at the very end, like he wanted less money, but he wanted my Nolan Ryan rookie card. And
no.
It was cool, but like stuff like that really stands out to me because it's what I love to do, man. Like I don't like, dude, I can. If I like designer purses, like Coach stuff, like Louis Vuitton, like that would be more work for me because that's not something I'm passionate about or enjoy. So the biggest thing I always tell people is if you're going to sell on eBay, sell things that you enjoy or that you love to do because it doesn't feel like work. Because if you enjoy comic books and you enjoy hunting for comic books, why wouldn't you enjoy selling them or knowing your value, you know? And the whole purpose, actually, the reason why I got into reselling originally was to help pay for my collections because my collection, my hobbies were too expensive. So I started buy big lots of stuff to start flipping. But over the years, I mean, I mentioned earlier the NES Castlevania game. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think what else. I get those Mickey Mantle cards. Probably my biggest regret was there's a 1993 or early 90s. It's a Hulk Hogan Hasbro figure, and it was a mail away figure. So back in the I don't even remember, like back in the day, you had like take the UPC codes off and mail stuff in sometimes.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah,
but
man.
Hasbro had one where you can get like a Bret Hart, you can get an Undertaker or a Hulk Hogan, but the Hulk Hogan's wearing his all red suit they wore at WrestleMania, and I got it, and I had it, and I got it in like a find, and it was like my prize collection and my prize piece of my collection, and I ended up selling off like $100. The thing was going for like $100 like the longest time. Now it's like $1,000. It's like I want to
those mail away
that.
toys, man. A lot of those mail away toys are worth a ton. Like the He-Man, the Wonder Bread He-Man.
Yeah, dude. So that's dude. It's I have a what else do I have here? I have a G.I. Joe. I have a Sergeant Slaughter G.I. Joe mail away figure, which is super cool.
Yeah.
So that's like one of my little G.I. Joe, like this big Sergeant Slaughter. But yeah, man, that one I kept. But I mean, trying to think what else, man.
Unboxings. What have been some of your most successful unboxings? What's some like just amazing slabs? Because I've seen some on your channel. I know you've had some really good ones.
Yeah, probably my newsstands, man. Like a lot of my newsstands I get that I just never expected that the newsstand market was going to take off the way it did. What was the it was Batman? Was it Batman 423 with the McFarlane cover? Do you know? I can't.
I'm not as good with the DC.
You know the one where he supposedly did like real fast, like overnight with a big cape on front of it and stuff like that.
He didn't complete. He calls it the error cover because it's partially incomplete.
Yeah. So I had that as a newsstand, which I actually set the record for that one because I was like a 9.4, and that sold for like $900 or $800, man. Damn. Yeah. So like that was Sergeant Stars at Joe's Fest every year. Oh, I gotta go, dude. I gotta find that. Hold on,
he comes to Chattanooga. I think he comes to Camp Jordan here in Chattanooga every couple of years.
Oh, dude, I'll show you. This hasn't come out in the video. But this is probably one of my coolest finds I recently had. So,
what you got?
All right. So first off, there's the Sergeant Slaughter. That's a mail away Sergeant Slaughter.
Awesome.
Yeah, so super cool. But
that's really cool. Yeah.
So I actually just got this 2 weeks ago. So a lot of gas stations across America have these giant Slim Jim displays.
Yes.
So this is the Macho Man. Okay. So this is the first edition. There's a purple one's the second edition.
Okay.
And the reason why this is so important to me, when these first came out maybe 2-3 years ago, I literally went to gas station, and I asked the attendants, I'm like, hey, man, you can tell your boss someone stole it. I'll give you $50. Let me buy it from me. No one would sell it to me. Like, I could not sell it. And I went out picking probably 2 weeks ago. This video will come out in July too. And I went to this sale, and I was looking because like I have like it's an app called the Yard Sale Treasure Map, and I was looking through. And I'm like, okay, there's an American Legion sale, but there's a community sale. I'm gonna go to this community sale. So I showed up to the American Legion sale. It was my last stop of the day. I walked in there. It was like barely anybody there. In the back corner, some lady had this brand new in the box.
Now, wow, that's awesome, man.
Used ones on eBay. I paid $50 for this, so I was super pumped. But used ones on eBay sell for like $150. New ones go for like $250.
Oh,
and
damn.
I literally got this. Yeah, this is staying in the PC, but I've been tracking this down for the past like 2-3 years. I refuse to buy one off eBay. That's the thing is like I can buy this stuff off eBay, but
it's not fun that way though.
Yeah, because you never know what you're gonna find. Like I find here's a weird find. You know, Uggs, the boots, like the girls wear Uggs.
Yep.
Look at the giant Ugg I have.
What the hell?
It's a store display. I bought this at a yard sale for $2.
Oh shit!
How can I pass it up for $2?
That's crazy.
Yeah, but that would be good for someone who had a clothes shop or like a Poshmark store.
Absolutely.
Or had or is focused on selling clothes on their YouTube channel. You put that in your background, stuff like that. So like,
there's somebody out there that belongs to.
Yeah, man. So it's all about the cool finds. It's all about like, it's part of the journey. So that Macho Man is, I mean, it's not super valuable. I can make $100 off it, but at the same point in time is like, it means more to me because one is I grew up with the Macho Man. I grew up with Slim Jims. Snap just Slim Jim. Ooh, yeah. So like, I love it, man. Like, when the Macho Man was in Spider-Man movie, jumping off, giving the double axe handle, like I loved it, man. Like,
Yeah.
So anytime I have that
Really cool.
crossover, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, and then the find that in the wild, it's about finding, just like you found those books in a dollar bin, like you could buy those on eBay, not
Yeah.
gonna have the same impact on you. Finding
No,
out in the wild it's worth its weight in gold. I don't even care what it's worth. Like, that thing could be worth $10. It's worth millions to me because it's part of the hunt and part of the journey.
and it fuels us to continue wanting to go out
Yeah,
and try to find this stuff again.
absolutely, man. It's all about that journey. That's the biggest thing along this way.
Yeah.
So what about you, man? What was your, I mean, other than that, was that your best find of all time in the wild? Those dollar
Um,
bins? It doesn't have to be the most valuable. Like, that's the biggest thing I tell people. Like, we talk about your best finds, it's always not been the most valuable. Sometimes it'd be something that just means so much to you.
yeah, I'll show you. I got something close that means a lot. I'll show you.
Okay.
And it's horror related too. You'll like it.
Oh, all right.
This was given to me by a close friend at work because I never could have got it. I don't even think you could buy it off of eBay, maybe for a lot of money. But it's the first appearance. It's the rare limited. It's one of
Oh,
250 chromium foil edition
yep.
of the first appearance of Michael Myers in comics.
That's awesome.
There's only 250 of these that exist.
That's that's so cool.
And this is almost, I would be willing to bet I could get a 9.8 if I submitted that.
Are you going to submit it?
Man, I think I will, dude. I think I need to.
You should, man.
The only thing that sucks about submitting horror comics, they don't, it won't say first appearance of Michael Myers. They don't put with horror books, first appearances and stuff.
So
But
there's you just
I
reminded
love
me
that
something.
book though.
Oh, that book's awesome, man. That's super cool. I'm actually going to start looking for that book now. Now you got me wanting to buy that book. But
Only 250, man. There are 666 of the regular version. But there's only 250 of those.
dude, I have a Ric Flair foil book around here. I got to send off the CGC. I don't know. I think I have it put away because I don't want to damage it. But it was a special edition released on his website directly, and it's the Ric Flair foil edition. And I got to send that one off. I've been waiting to send it off, man. But
Got to.
I got that. But there's a company called, I think it's called Rewind. They just started the new company. They started grading VHS. But one of the cool things that they're doing with VHS is they're actually starting to put first appearance of the actors on their slabs.
That's neat.
So that's not something like, like video. Video games they don't say like first appearance of Mario or anything like that on it when they post it up.
Yeah.
The other VHS companies were never doing first appearance of actors. So, I think it goes a long way when they put those first appearances on there.
It makes it so much cooler, dude.
Yeah, it adds another level. It's like peeling back the onion, man. And so I wish they would put like first appearance of like Michael Myers in comics and stuff like that. They should.
They need to.
Yeah,
and
man,
like with the movie thing, like you were just saying, that's awesome because like with Nightmare on Elm Street 1, I think isn't that Johnny Depp's first movie? So that'd be like first appearance of Johnny Depp in a movie.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. I think that would be.
It's a different aspect to it. You really have to be in your A game though, because they could be in a minor role in a movie and stuff like that. So you just kind of like, I guess, would that be considered a cameo then, or now we're gonna have that whole debate?
Oh shit!
Is it cameo first appearance with the actors?
That opens a whole crazy can of worms.
Yeah, it's a whole nother. Yeah, you're 100% right on that. So I go back and forth with that just to, with when it comes to comics, but it's makes things more difficult for a lot of people, man. You should bug CGC about that. Yeah, they should start doing that, man. You should.
Man, they really should.
Dude, use your channel as a voice, man. You should start it every week. Start a petition. Get everyone that comes to your chats, everyone comes to your videos, to sign your petition to get them to put horror stuff. We'll do it together. So
they'll just take out a protective order on me, and that's how that will end.
Yeah, well, it happens, man. So,
but dude, is there anything else you want to talk about? I think we'll wrap it up soon.
Okay, no, that's fine, man. No, I would just say, man, if anyone has any questions,
anybody
need help, eBay, anything like that, eBay reselling, picking, feel free, hit me up. Picking and punching on Facebook, picking and punching on eBay. I'm sorry, not eBay. Picking and punching on my stores on eBay now. Picking and punching on Instagram, picking and punching on Facebook. I will answer any questions. I will talk to anyone. Just send me a message on there if you have any questions about anything. My DMs are always open. Check out my videos, man. Subscribe to the channel. Check it out if you guys like picking.
Yeah.
I'm going to be putting out a little comic book content here and there. I took a step back a little bit from my comic book stuff just to focus more on my picking because
It's
that's
cool.
more of my business and that helps my business grow there. So on that, but I'm still going to sprinkle some of that in along the way. I'll have a new video with a CGC unboxing and a flea market hunt video getting comic books here in next month. So
Awesome.
guys, just come check me out, man. Check out my channel. Give it a chance.
Yeah, you guys, you heard it. Be sure to go subscribe if you've never checked out his channel,
Oh,
Picking and Punching on YouTube.
yeah, man.
But
I still got the Hawkster hat. I went to that's actually probably one of the cool finds. You asked me earlier. I went to a yard sale, and there was a 1980s tag team called the Killer Bees. They were
okay,
they're in the 80s WWF. They were like yellow and black tights. But anyway, one of the guys, Brian Blair, lives in Tampa, and he used to own all the Gold's gyms in the Tampa Bay area. And he brought Hulk Hogan and he brought Macho Man into a guest signing in like the
wow,
late 80s. And
that's crazy.
so what's crazier though, I went to a yard sale and I like to buy hats. I flip hats on eBay all the time, used hats, whatever. Hats
Yeah,
sell really well. So I was buying all these hats off this table. I picked up a Gold's Gym hat. And I looked at it and it had Hulk Hogan and Macho Man's autograph on it. And I
damn.
asked him, like, hey, how much for the hat? He's like, $1. So I literally bought this hat for $1. And then when he told me the backstory, he's like, hey, yeah, my wife or someone used to babysit or knew Bryant Blair. And I was like, oh my God, I know Bryant. Yeah. So like all the pieces kind of just fell into place when so they said, so I know it's legit. I didn't even have to get it authorized. I would have to if I want to, to sell it off or something like that. But the backstory lines up 100% completely just based on my knowledge with the wrestling industry and the hat and the time frame. Yeah, it's really cool, man. I don't have it up here right now, but yeah, I have it's the Gold's Gym white hat signed by the Macho Man and Hulk Hogan. So
That's like a dollar bin score right there.
that's a dollar bin score. Yeah, man. It's funny, man, that's actually probably earlier in my channel too that I did that. So that's cool. Dr. Von Hoot, man, appreciate you bringing that up, man. So,
Yeah, he's a Dr. Von Hoot. He's an awesome guy.
yeah, man.
But anyways, thanks guys, everybody who came out and watched tonight. And Rod, thank you so much, man, for coming and hanging out with me. It means the world to me, and I had a blast hanging out with you.
Man, I had a blast hanging out here, man. Anytime you want to do something in the future, let me know. I'll be back.
Yeah, for sure, man. But I guess we'll wrap it up. Thanks, guys. Be sure to tune in next week. We'll have Frank from Frank's BS. He's going to come on. He's a big toy collector, so he's going to be bringing some old toys and hanging out. It's going to be a good time. Frank's a good buddy of mine. It's going to be fun. So y'all tune in for that. That's going to be next Monday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. But for right now, flip over to 22 Comics for his top 10 alternatives. It's going to be a good one. So I think it's going on right now, actually. But until next time, I'll see you guys next Monday. Peace.
See you.